Okay, we're back. And I just had a question to answer session the other day with a group of folks. And one of the questions that came up, which brings me right into where I want to talk, is why don't we know who we are? Now, recently I picked up an Esquire magazine, and on the cover was a high school kid a high school senior from Wisconsin, and the title or the caption read, "I know what's wrong with me, but I don't know what's right with me." And the question for the audience was, why don't we know ourselves? So this is the feed-in into wellness. So Plato said, know thyself, love thyself. And it's interesting that we come into this lifetime and we don't know who we are. We know who we should be from the school system, from our parents, but we don't know who we are. What is our individuality? Who are we really? What is our authentic self? So I started a project called the Authentic Self Path, P-A-T-H, finding your own path. And you can find it on my website, Authentic Self Path. We're talking about why don't we know ourselves? Well, we have to go back to the subconscious belief system. Now, when we begin to study the subconscious belief system, we find that our subconscious belief system is formed 70% by the time we're 7 years old. So the Jesuits say, if they have you for the first 7 years, they have you for life. Why is that? It's because of the subconscious belief system. And that's why we don't know who we are. So I started a project before you were born, 1985, and I started thinking about wellness and finding the authentic self. Who am I really? And this has been many times people ask that, who am I? And they don't really know. They know who they should be, but they don't know who they really are. So I began to look at how would we find out our authentic self. Now, one of the other things I studied besides wellness was spiritual psychology. And many times people have a trigger about spiritual. But what I want to frame it as is a difference between religion and spirituality. Spirituality is how you connect with the universe, simply. We could call it a lot of different things, and when people try to divide and conquer us and control us, they use religion as a way to do that. They do it in many other ways too, but this is one of the ways that I wanted to look at. So, who are you? How would we find that out? So as we began to study a little spiritual psychology, we find that the philosophy is that we come here to the planet many times. We have several lifetimes. And keep your mind open a little bit here, because in the East, this is widely known, and even it's hinted at in the Bible. The theory is that as we come into this lifetime, we choose what we're going to do here, what we're going to accomplish, what we're going to be. But we're not given what that is when we come in. So, it's interesting, it's almost like rowing. I told you in a prior video I was into rowing. And one of the things about rowing is you're rowing this way, but you're moving that way. So life is kind of like this. You only see what you've experienced. Isn't that interesting? So we've got to figure out a way to find out, who are we? What is our authentic self? So the way I looked at it was, the theory in spiritual psychology is that we are given the gifts to do this wonderful thing we've chosen to do. Well, that might be a cameraman. That might be whatever that is. And to whatever way we're going to make a difference in the world or whatever we're going to do in life. So we're given the gifts to do it. So I figured out, okay, why don't we test all the gifts you have? Now, if we go back to that Esquire magazine, remember, he knew exactly what was wrong with him, but he didn't know what was right with him. So I decided to find out what's right with you. And the way I did it was I did a series of questionnaires and evaluations to figure out all the different gifts that you have. And in a later video, we'll go over how we do that and what we test. But for the moment, I want you to concentrate on what we did is we took your gifts and we developed an owner's manual for who you are. So I brought a little prop today, and this is the prop. It's the owner's manual for my Prius car. Now we've got an owner's manual for our car. We've got one for the camera that we're running here. We've got one for your computer. We've got one for your refrigerator, but we don't have one for you. So what I decided to invent, because I had a background in research, is an owner's manual for a person. I called it the Authentic Self Manual. We can use an acronym called ASM if you'd like. The website that I use for this to give you more information about is the Authentic Self Path, P-A-T-H. Okay, thank you very much for watching. Please click the like and subscribe button and come back and see more of these exciting videos. Blessings.